Welcome back to an exciting video, and what we're doing today is we're going to find out if an American Wolfgang is actually worth $3,600 more than the PV standard Indonesian model. So I started this a few weeks ago, and I was kind of curious. Is the American EVH Wolfgang really worth so much more money than the Indonesian model? So if you watch my channel, you do know that I grabbed this. I got this not too long ago, this Indonesian Wolfgang. And I did a quick review on it, and granted there's 1,000 reviews on it, but I like doing my own on everything, putting my own little spin, my twist on it. And, you know, I'm as honest as I possibly can be when I do my videos, and I don't hold anything back. I don't get paid to do any of this, so I don't have to relegate to any one company. I get the product, I review it. If it sucks, I tell you it sucks. If it's great, I tell you it's great. And I gotta be honest, when I got this, I really did not have a whole lot of hope for it, to be honest with you. And so I got it, set it up how I like my guitars, played it, and I was absolutely blown away by how good this guitar played for the money. And it just really caught me by surprise. And I should have known better because I have several Indonesian guitars. I have a couple of Indonesian Ibanez's, which if you watch my channel, you've seen them. And I absolutely love those guitars. And it's getting to the point now to where I'm not sure that it's worth the extra price to buy an American-made guitar. Now, I'm sure there are circumstances for everything, and I've bought American guitars that I was shockingly disappointed with, as I've bought foreign guitars that I've been shockingly disappointed with. And like I said, I always come back to the same thing. Well, maybe it's a Monday guitar, maybe it's a Friday guitar. You just get lucky and just get that one great guitar that just happened to be coming off at that one time, and it finds your way into your lap, and you buy it, and it's amazing. And I've got two Ibanez's. I got my 1070 PBZ and my 1120 PBZ, which are both Indonesian-made guitars, which are absolutely fantastic. And the 1120 is actually one of my main gigging guitars. Now, granted, as you all saw, if you do follow my channel, my wife just got me the beautiful Ibanez J Custom. And, I can say without a doubt that is literally one of the finest guitars I've ever played in my life. And it is just, the guitar is stunning on every front. But with that being said, it was an expensive guitar. And a lot of these guitars are priced out of the average new guitar player, mediocre guitar player, somebody who just does it for fun. They're pricing them out of their range. And the last time I checked, which was about 2 weeks ago, the new EVH guitars they're either $42.99 or $43.99 for the American-made EVH. And that is insane to me. And I did a video several months ago about how the guitars are pricing themselves out of the market. And are they really worth the money? So I decided, you know what, we're going to go ahead and do a comparison since I did get my hands on this. And I do have an American Wolfgang. Now mine is the PV Wolfgang. The reason I'm testing a PV Wolfgang and not the new EVH Wolfgang is because I've played them both. And I like the PV better. I'm not saying that the other guitar is worse necessarily. I just like the PV better. To me, the PV has a little more girth. It feels a little chunkier. And I don't know, man, the PVs are just built like a freaking tank. But when I bought this guitar back in the day, it was still a $2,000 guitar. And we're talking, this is a 1996. So if you throw that up into today's money, that's probably around $3,800. Well, let's see real quick. Now that I've said that, I'm curious. Okay, so $2,000 in 1996 is worth $3,783.26. So, for all intent and purposes, if I was to buy this guitar new today, it would cost me roughly $3,800, $3,900. But they're priced at $4,200, $4,300. No, actually $4,300, $4,400. Sorry about that. And now I understand that the cost of materials has just skyrocketed since COVID. Everything has skyrocketed since COVID. Shortage of materials, never-ending supply chain shortages, and that does weigh into the fact that the cost of guitars are going up. But does it really? I paid $1,399 for one of my Indonesian Ibanez's 2.5 years ago. The guitar has gone up $100 in that 2.5 years. So can we really blame it on supply chain shortages and material shortages? Or I gotta be honest, can we blame it on greed? I'm kind of leaning towards the greed side, to be honest with you, because the Wolfgangs, the EVH Wolfgangs, just a year ago were $36.99. I know this because I was looking at buying one, and before that they were $32.99. Now they're sitting at $42 or $43.99, and the price has just gotten insane. So let's find out, is it really worth thousands of dollars more than an Indonesian Wolfgang? So real quick, I'm just going to go over what the two guitars consist of, and then we're just going to do a simple sound test. Let our ears be the judge. So here are the two guitars, and let's just take a look and see how these things break down before we start the sound test. This is the Indonesian guitar here, and it has a basswood body. The American guitar, and it has a basswood body and a maple cap on the top of it. The Indonesian guitar has a maple neck with a maple fretboard, roasted maple. The American guitar has a maple neck with a maple fretboard, and it is bird's eye maple. That does cost a little more. This one does have the American, made in Germany. Yeah, okay. So this one has the scalar tuners on it, which are damn good tuners. This one, it doesn't say. It just has tuners on it. So, we're going to sell you a guitar, and it's got tuners. We don't know what kind of tuners, but it's got tuners. And that's important. And these tuners, they feel pretty good for what they are. They do not feel like these, granted, but they feel pretty good for what they are. They both have locking nuts. Now, on this particular guitar, this one is licensed under Floyd Rose patents. This is the EVH tremolo on this guitar. This is also licensed under EVH patents, and this is an EVH special tremolo on this guitar. It says special. So the metals just are not quite as good on the special as they are on the American. But is it still worth $3,600, $3,700 difference? This one does come with premium pots. This one just comes with pots. This one does have premium switching in it. And this one just has switching. They both have claws in the back for the tremolo systems. And yes, for some reason, except for on my Ibanez with the Zero systems, I cannot keep a back door on my damn guitars. Hang on, that didn't sound right. I cannot keep the back plate on my damn guitars. To save my life, I can't keep them on. They both have sculpted hills. This one has a 15-degree straight radius. All the new EVHs have a compound radius from a 12 to 16. I personally prefer straight radius guitars, honestly. This one is a flat top. This one is an arch top, as you can see. But other than that, besides the pickups, these are original EVH pickups, and these are wound to EVH specifications. Is it worth that much more money? The guitars, even though they are incredibly similar, they do feel quite a bit different. The Wolfgang, my Wolfgang, this American Wolfgang weighs 8.5 pounds, 8 pounds 5 ounces, I'm sorry. It is a heavy, heavy, chunky guitar. And I like that. I like that girth. I like that chunkiness of it. Now, I did have one of my people watch my video. Not one of my people. I had somebody on YouTube watch my video. And he said that his standard Wolfgang was sitting a little over 8 pounds. I believe him, but I haven't seen one 8 pounds yet. I actually weighed this one, and this one is coming in at 7 pounds, 6 pounds 14 ounces. It's just a tick under 7 pounds. And I did get a chance to compare it to another one I was holding, and they feel actually shockingly similar, give or take a few ounces. But the one that I was holding was definitely not over 8 pounds. And so if they do make one over 8 pounds, I have not seen it yet. And I've only played 3 of these in my life, including the one that I own. So I've only played 2 other ones besides this one. Now, one of the big comfort differences is that the Indonesian does have the forearm cut, which I absolutely love. And it's got the belly cut for people who like the belly cuts. The forearm cut to me is absolutely something that I love having that. And that is what bothers me on the American Wolfgangs and the specials, is they do not have it. And I wear my guitars fairly high, and I've said this 1,000 times. After playing for so long, it just kind of starts to take its turn on my arm. Now, before, like I said, we get into the sound test, I am going to tell you, now, is there a difference between the two? Well, absolutely there's a difference between the two. I just did the video on the standard. Obviously, the craftsmanship on this thing is phenomenal. It's got, the 3A match top on it. It's got a beautiful binding. The body, the paint, everything on this guitar is absolutely flawless on this guitar. And I will stick with this to the day I die. This is literally one of the best guitars. Ooh, I need to clean this one up. This is literally one of the best guitars on the market, period. These things are built like freaking tanks, and they sound phenomenal, and they play phenomenal. And one of my favorite things about the Wolfgang, which I've said numerous times, is Eddie Van Halen scooted all the controls and everything back 1 inch. So even though it is a 25/5 scale guitar, it actually plays closer to like what a Les Paul would play like, being at a 24.5 inch scale guitar, or 24.75. So it plays like a very small guitar, and that I actually love. When I do come off my EVHs and I go to my Ibanez's, it feels like I'm holding my arm out here to play. That 1 inch just makes a massive difference on the overall length of the guitar when you are playing. But with that being said, we're going to do a sound test, and I'm not going to let you know which one I'm playing. Both of these guitars are tuned down to E flat. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick them up and play them. I'm going to play the same exact things. I'm going to play on a clean channel. Then I'm going to play on a distorted channel. But I'm not going to let you see which one I'm playing. Because really what it comes down to when you're deciding on a guitar is how does it feel and how does it sound? Who cares what it costs? I mean, if I can buy a $1,000 guitar that plays and makes me equally as happy and sounds just as good as a $3,000 guitar, I'm going to buy the $1,000 guitar. And, for those people out there that say, well, that's impossible, you're never going to get a $1,000 guitar that plays as well as a $3,000 guitar. Well, I greatly disagree. Because I've got 2 $1,300 Ibanez's that play and sound phenomenal. And I just ended up with a $600 standard Wolfgang that plays and sounds phenomenal. So with that being said, let's see which one sounds the best. So what I did is I played both guitars and I played them back to back. And I went through all three pickup positions on a clean channel, distorted channel, and then a lead channel to give you an idea to hear what is what. And I guess what you need to do now is you got to really kind of decipher which one do you think sounded better. And before I give you my thoughts on it, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to help support this channel, you can go to my Patreon page. All the links to my Patreon and my Instagram are down below. Please check them out if you get a chance. So, what is my opinion on the two guitars? Well, I mean, obviously there's a difference. That goes without saying. And the American Wolfgang feels better in my hands. It feels chunkier, it feels more solid, and it feels more refined. With that being said, the Indonesian Wolfgang, it feels fine. It plays fantastically. It's incredibly comfortable. But yeah, you can obviously tell a difference. You can tell a difference because there's just simply better componentry on the American guitar as opposed to on the Indonesian guitar. And everything on it just feels more solid. The switching feels better. The pots feel better. The trim system feels better. Everything just feels a little better on the American Wolfgang as opposed to the Indonesian Wolfgang. Okay, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is it worth $3,600 more? And I gotta tell you, I do not think it is worth $3,600 more than the Indonesian Wolfgang. Well, why do I say that? You just sit there and said it had better componentry on it, better everything. Well, that is true. But I can pay $700 for the Indonesian Wolfgang. I can put a real set of EVH pickups in it for $500. So now I'm up to $1,100. I can put a real Floyd Rose on it, we'll say for $300. Now I'm up to $1,400. And I can put a brand new set of CTS or Burns pots in it for 30 bucks. So basically, I can recreate the American Wolfgang, give or take, the extra nice finish, the top, the binding. At the end of the day, who cares? So realistically, I can buy a standard Wolfgang and make it equally as good, minus the stainless steel frets, for $1,500. And that's even if I want those parts on the guitar. Because if you watch my last video, out of the box, the guitar absolutely rips. One thing I did notice right out of the gate is the American Wolfgang does have more clarity on the pickups than the Indonesian guitar does. Well, that works great for me, but that may not be what you're after. You may want something a little dirtier, a little nastier, and if you do, the Indonesian pickups are going to work for you absolutely fine. So, with all that being said, which guitar did I play where? Well, everything you heard first was the American Wolfgang. The clean channel, the heavy channel, then the lead channel. Everything done the first time was on the American Wolfgang. Everything on the second time was on the Indonesian Wolfgang. Now, to my ears, everything sounded better on the American Wolfgang. It was more articulate, it was a little cleaner, had a little more character to it. On the Indonesian Wolfgang, everything just sounded a little dirtier, maybe a touch fuzzier, not quite as clear, not quite as clean. Now, like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because it really comes down to what your tastes are. And that's what it all comes down to, what your tastes are. You don't have to buy a $4,000 guitar to sound good. You can simply buy a $600 guitar, leave it as it is, or change out some of the componentry, which is what I would probably do at the end of the day. I would change it out for just, and I'm not saying get something vastly better, but maybe just a little better. The pickups in it absolutely rock, but the Wolfgang pickups are a better sounding pickup, to my ears anyway. And I guess that's what happens when everything's done by a very strict set of procedures that were laid in place by Eddie Van Halen, to where on the Indonesian factories and everything, they were pretty much done to spec. Now, if you get a chance to get a Japanese Wolfgang, check those out. Those are streeting for around $1,000 to $1,200 right now. And they pulled those out of Japan because basically what was going on is the Japanese were making the same exact guitar as the Americans were for much, much less money. It had real EVH pickups in it, stainless steel frets, and it had the real EVH trim system on it. So they pulled those out because everybody was buying the Japanese ones. So I currently am looking for a Japanese Wolfgang to get my hands on. And you can find them. They do pop up on like Reverb and stuff every once in a while. And so if I can find a good copy of one, I'm probably going to grab it. And I have been fortunate enough. They had one down at Guitar Center years ago. And I did get a chance to play it. And for whatever reason, I did not buy the guitar because I had the American Wolfgangs and I was just on the American Wolfgang kick at that point. That was a mistake. I should have bought it. But in closing, you can buy a $700 guitar that will do almost literally everything that a $4,300 guitar will do. And if there's a couple things you don't like on it, change them out because the parts you're changing out aren't that expensive. The heart and soul of the guitar, which is the neck, both necks are phenomenal. They feel great. They're both the Eddie Van Halen carve. I don't think you're going to notice that much of a difference neck-wise between the two if you get one that has been treated correctly and finished off like it should be, to where the one on mine is fantastic. As far as the arch top to the flat top, that's just a call. There again, that's a beauty thing. Is that something you need or something you don't need? So on the end of the day, do I love my American Wolfgangs? Absolutely. I think they're just simply amazing guitars. Are they worth $3,600 more than the Indonesian guitar? Absolutely not. It's too easy to buy that guitar, upgrade a few things on it for $500, $600, $700, and essentially have a guitar that plays just as good as the American, minus the stainless steel frets. That's something you would have to deal with when you get to that point. So there you have it. I'm going to wrap it up right there. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's I think it's pretty telling playing these two guitars back to back with the massive price difference between the two. So I'm going to wrap it up on that note. Let me know what you think about the two guitars. Which one do you think sounds better? Sound is very subjective. If it's something that I love, that does not mean everybody else in the world is going to love it. That's why they make different guitars with different amps and different pickups, because not everything suits everybody. That is why they make vanilla, because not everybody likes chocolate, which boggles my mind. So on that note, I'm going to call it right there. And like the great Sammy Hagar says, if you miss the beat, you lose the rhythm. And what happens, honey?
Nothing falls into place.
Nothing falls into place. You heard it right there from my wife. Thanks, baby. And on that note, I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless everybody and rock on.